All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about the Acolyte yet again. And apparently, the numbers have come out for the Acolyte with something a little bit more realistic. And we also are noticing that the Acolyte has performed worse than AHSOKA. And yes, it is that AHSOKA, the same AHSOKA that performed terribly for Star Wars and Disney as a whole, has now performed better than the Acolyte. And that is a title that I think the Acolyte doesn't necessarily want to have associated with it.
Some nerds are very not gay and are very threatened by gay
Well, that's
stuff.
true. But
Yeah.
in my world, nerds are gay.
Okay.
Now, the greatest thing about all of these numbers and whatnot that come out after the TV show is that it always comes out after Disney themselves tried to get the narrative started, right? Disney has been doing this for a while now. Well, they will put out the narrative before anybody even has a chance to verify it, and they're gonna claim victory in the public eye before anybody gets a chance to verify it. So we got an article here from That Park Place with a headline that reads, "Confirmed, the Acolyte performs worse than AHSOKA. Global minutes viewed less than AHSOKA's US premiere viewership." So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. It says a new report confirms that the Acolyte performed worse than AHSOKA on Disney+. Deadline's Katie Campion reported that according to Lucasfilm data, the Acolyte's 2-episode premiere only attracted 11.1 million views globally after 5 days of streaming. This report confirms that the Acolyte performed worse than the most recent Star Wars live-action series, Dave Filoni's Ahsoka. According to a blog post on StarWars.com, Lucasfilm reported that the debut episode of Ahsoka garnered 14 million views, making the series #1 globally on the streaming platform. In a footnote, Lucasfilm noted that a view is defined as total stream time divided by runtime available. So it looks like there is a 3 million view gap between the Acolyte and Star Wars Ahsoka. And that is phenomenal to me. That is absolutely phenomenal because everybody said that Ahsoka was a girl boss show. And now you see an exact replication of that, but worse with the Acolyte. The Acolyte, everybody's saying, is 100% a girl boss show. And you're seeing 3 million less views globally. And that's over 5 days, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that number in mind. 3 million views over 5 days. 11 million views total over 5 days. That's insane. We're talking about Star Wars here. We're talking about a franchise that should be pulling more viewership than YouTubers, and yet you have YouTubers that destroy those numbers. It is really quite sad. So then it says that the total runtime of the first episode of Ahsoka was 56 minutes and 25 seconds. However, the series released 2 episodes back-to-back for its premiere. The second episode's runtime totaled 43 minutes and 57 seconds. That means combined, the 2-episode runtime was 100 minutes and 22 seconds. The Acolyte released 2 episodes on its premiere date last Tuesday on June 4th. The total runtime for both episodes totals 73 minutes and 55 seconds. That means that the total minutes viewed globally for the Acolyte was around 820 million, while Ahsoka was likely around 1.4 billion minutes viewed. Now, again, guys, whenever they come up with TV shows like this, it's amazing to me how Disney was trying to put out something good in terms of press so fast, which is why when I reported on that video and I said, hey, you know, this viewership number data, don't go by what Disney tells you. Go by like the Nielsen ratings. Go by the stuff that objective companies are actually looking at and trying to get down to the bottom and the truth of and give you real analytical data. Disney's only going to give you the numbers that look the best in the public eye. They're trying to spin positive PR for their company any way that they can. So they're going to do this time and time again. That's why they try to tout it as this massive win. They try to say, oh, it got 4 some odd million views in the first 24 hours or something like that. They're trying to make it seem like the best thing since they've ever come out with, that everybody loves Ahsoka. And the reason why they tried to do this is because, again, it's all PR spin. They always try to go with whatever the number makes them look best. So for them, 4 million views in 24 hours is a big number, makes them look good. And also they can claim that it's a #1 show on Disney Plus for the year, but it's very easy to claim that when you don't have fucking anything else on the platform that's even worth trying to check out. Nobody's looking at Disney Plus. Disney Plus is such an abysmal platform. The viewership that it's pulling in is god awful. The only reason why it has so many subscribers is because it's bundled with so many other programs that people actually utilize. That's the greatest thing about all this. Then it says, however, it's unclear how accurate the Walt Disney Company's reporting actually is. Data tracking company Nielsen reported that Ahsoka's 2-episode premiere garnered 829 million minutes viewed in the United States alone. And again, I would much rather go by the Nielsen data than go by what Disney is saying, because Disney has skin in the game. They have a reason to lie about it, right? The Nielsen data doesn't have a reason to lie about it unless they're bought and paid for, but we haven't seen any evidence about that. So we go by the Nielsen data because it's very, very accurate for the most part. As noted by X user, now it's known the total minute view dropped to 575 million minutes viewed the week of its finale. That was worse than Andor, which racked up 674 million minutes the week its finale debuted. Andor had a 3-episode premiere on September 21st, 2022. According to Nielsen, it racked up 624 million minutes viewed. Andor, supposedly Andor is very good. Again, I don't watch it because I don't really give a shit about Disney Star Wars. I refuse to support it, but I heard that Andor is pretty good. But the problem with Andor is that Andor came at a time where people were apathetic towards Star Wars. They really just didn't care anymore, like myself, and they weren't even going to give it a shot because unfortunately it is tied to Disney Star Wars, and they just don't want to give them any sort of support whatsoever. So Andor was just another example of a show that came out at the wrong time. Infamously, Andor showrunner Tony Gilroy detailed that the show was chasing the audience, which, again, if Andor was chasing the audience, what do you think Ahsoka was doing? What do you think the Acolyte's doing? All of these TV shows are chasing audiences because they keep trying to make these TV shows for modern audiences that don't exist. That's the greatest thing about all this. They love to talk about the modern audience, and yet nobody can actually point and shoot and claim what the modern audience is. Nobody knows what that is because it's made up. It's all made up. There's only the audience, and whether or not the audience is going to resonate with what you are making, that's up to the audience, right? But you are choosing to go after ESG money. That's what the modern audience actually is. When they say modern audience, they mean that they're going after ESG funding. They're going after investors. Investors are the modern audience. He says, I think I was surprised. I thought the show would go on other way, that we would have this gigantic instantaneous audience that would just be everywhere, but that it would take forever for non-Star Wars people or critics or my cohort of friends to get involved in the show. The opposite happened. We ended up with all this critical praise, all this deep appreciation and understanding from a really surprising number of sources, and we're chasing the audience, he admitted. Well, that's because you are surrounding yourselves with a bunch of yes people. You're surrounding yourselves with people that all have the same ideological thoughts. So, of course, you're going to get critical praise. Of course, you're going to get praise from your coworkers. Of course, you're going to get praise from your companions or whatever. You don't have anybody that disagrees with you. You don't have anybody that has a different mindset. You don't have anybody that thinks differently. There's no diversity of thought. For people who claim to be so unbelievably diverse, there is no diversity of thought anywhere to be found. So without that diversity of thought, you end up with a product that's very stale. You end up with something that is going to continue to chase the audience because that audience you're choosing to ignore. People are telling you what they want, and you're actively creating things that's not what they want. So at the end of the day, man, Star Wars is going to continue to struggle. I'm glad that the numbers are starting to come out and reveal the truth about this TV show, and we're going to probably see more as Nielsen starts to get to its data. I'm very curious to see where this show actually falls. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.